Today, I'm very excited to be talking with Connie Gallipi. She is the founder and the executive director of the BitGive Foundation. Connie, welcome to Let's Talk Bitcoin.
Hi, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be able to catch up with you now because we keep missing each other at conferences. I met you over 6 months ago in San Jose for the first time at a Bitcoin conference. We kind of kept missing each other like trains passing in the night. So glad we have a chance to catch up now. What is the BitGive Foundation, first of all, for somebody who has never heard of it before?
Well, we are new, so probably a lot of folks haven't heard of us before. We're a nonprofit foundation, so very different than I think most of the entities in the Bitcoin space right now. But we're doing charitable work. There are some charities, of course, involved in Bitcoin. But we've established ourselves as more of a foundation that's sort of like a meta charity in the sense that we are taking in Bitcoin donations from the community and then giving to charitable causes on behalf of the community, and vetting those charities and looking at things on a global scale. So the concept is a lot like, say, a Packard Foundation or something of that nature, although it's not a family foundation by any means, but to be giving back from the community over the long term.
Sort of a meta charity. Did you come up with the idea for it, or did someone else? Tell me about how it was founded.
That's a great question. You referenced how we had first met in San Jose. We were at the Bitcoin Foundation's conference there. I had actually just attended that conference because my brother is involved in Bitcoin pretty heavily, and he lives on the East Coast and I live in California. So it was an opportunity for me to be able to see him and to learn more about what he was up to in Bitcoin. And I really had no intentions of being, directly involved. But when I was at that conference, I really was impressed by not only what I saw to be a very promising future in Bitcoin, because I had already seen that and knew that with my brother's involvement, but personally being there with all those folks collected. There was a lot of brilliant people there, a lot of energy, a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, and quite a bunch of investors wandering around. And to me, that was a very, very key indication that this could be huge. And it really became much more clear to me that the potential was at a scale of .com boom or bigger even. And my background is in nonprofit work for environmental groups in California. I've been doing this for a long time, and one of my focuses is helping them find funding, create funding sources at the state level, find grants, and those sorts of things. So I, really saw that if Bitcoin was going to be as big as I thought it could be, that there's a lot of funding that would probably be made by the companies involved and the investors, and that if we could just get a slice of it and direct it towards charitable causes, that could really make a huge difference. I mean, on a global scale, there's so many challenges that we're facing, and I really think that the success of Bitcoin can help address those issues. So that was the concept, came out of that, just being in that space and with all that energy. And I started to talk to folks about it, and they were really excited, and I felt like it was something I should pursue. So I still work full time in my career in the environmental field, but I decided to start the foundation on the side and have been doing that as well.
That's a really inspiring story. It sounds like you went to this conference with no intentions of really making Bitcoin a big part of your life. You just said, hey, I'll say hi to my brother and see what this is all about. And then it spawned this whole thing that turned into a second job for you, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Wow. So what stage are you at with the BitGive Foundation? Are you building up charities that you want to support? Are you building up funds? Where is it at right now?
Well, we're doing all of those things. So we officially launched the organization at the end of July. And essentially prior to that, we're very focused on just getting all the paperwork and such done to enable to launch. We are awaiting our status as an exempt C3 with the IRS. So that's been a lot of the work we've been doing as well. So now we are really starting to ramp up as far as fundraising, marketing, just getting ourselves out there, getting folks to know who we are and what we're doing. and then also researching the charitable groups around the world that we'd like to be giving to and establishing criteria. But we want to really establish a process by which, we can make those decisions about where the funding may go. So a lot of that work is underway. As I mentioned, I'm kind of doing this on the side, and I'm working as well full time. So it's a lot of work, but we're chipping away at it all. And
So do you need help? Are you looking for people to volunteer and help out?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how could they do that?
Well, they could just get a hold of me at info@bitgivefoundation.org. Also, just check out our website and the like. But yeah, we're looking for volunteers in pretty much every area. I mean, I am looking for folks who know a lot about internet, social media, things like that, marketing, fundraising. We do have some legal services that are being provided pro bono, which is really awesome, by Perkins Coie. But we have additional needs in that area as well. So I'm really, I'm open to anybody who wants to be involved and has a skill set that might match what our needs are.
I'm wondering if sort of part of the mission maybe is to not just use Bitcoin as a force for good and to support charitable causes, but also maybe to show that Bitcoin is used for charitable purposes. There's kind of a stereotype out there, which me personally, I've been interested in Bitcoin charitable activities for quite a while. And I know that there was this survey that was done by Zero Hedge more than a year ago at this point. But that survey showed that the most common use for Bitcoins among their respondents was actually as gifts, donations, and for charitable giving.
Wow.
So it's not just, Bitcoin is not just to buy drugs on the internet, obviously. That's a very small portion of Bitcoin users who've ever done that. But yet there's this persistent stereotype that Bitcoin is all about these bad kind of uses. So is part of BitGive maybe also showing that Bitcoin can be used for things like charity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And promoting that. I mean, it's very important, I think, for the Bitcoin community to be more well-rounded. It's young, and there's so much to be done, but there's a lot of focus on the technical and business and investment aspects of it, which makes sense for as young as it is. But there are so many other things that Bitcoin can do. Sometimes when I think about it, I really think that we could essentially recreate the whole world that we live in via Bitcoin, which is kind of like endless possibilities. And so working with charities and trying to do good with it is just one of many, many things I think we all should be thinking about. But to me, it's close to me and my heart and my passions. And like I was saying earlier, I just think the potential is so huge that it really should be a portion of what may come out of all this should be directed to the problems that we're facing. I mean, there's a real opportunity here to move the needle on major issues that we're facing if we can have a significant amount of funding that's available on a global scale.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
one of the things that I've noticed being in the Bitcoin community is there is this wonderful culture of generosity, because when you can send payments anywhere in the world with no friction, suddenly I think people become more inclined to do so. Have you found that that's true too?
I do think people find it really intriguing and interesting and exciting. I think with BitGive, we're fairly young and just getting started and very, I think, early in our fundraising days. So I haven't really experienced a whole lot of that sort of energy specifically for us. But definitely.
Well, what about you? I mean, you've worked in the nonprofit world as well as now starting this project in the Bitcoin nonprofit world. Do people hesitate to donate to charities, I guess, is what I'm asking, because of the friction associated with doing so? Is that an obstacle to charitable donations in the dollar world?
I think it definitely is in some circumstances, for sure. When there's political issues or people are in a position of authority or a figurehead of some sort, and they don't want it to be publicly known that they're, giving to a cause of some sort that may mean something very personal to them. And I actually was talking to someone today about this, and they said, it was just an example, but they said, if I want to donate to Planned Parenthood, I may not want my church to know about it. So that's kind of an interesting example. But yeah, I think that's definitely the case in some situations for sure.
There's a lot of questions I have for you, but just sort of as a follow-up on that, I know that one of the requirements for the IRS 501c3 recognition of nonprofit status is disclosure of the names of donors, especially large donors. I think there's probably some threshold for what they have to report. But how would that be managed with Bitcoin? Is it possible to comply with that?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. I'm not sure that anyone has the answers yet, which in a sense is good because we can carry forward in almost a fashion of, well, we'll wait and see. But it's also very hard to know how we're going to be able to operate in the long term and at large scale donation level. So, we have attorneys that we're working with, but, I'm not sure that they even know. Everyone's new to the Bitcoin, how it applies to existing regulations. So we may hear from the IRS. I mean, we have our application into them. We didn't hide the fact that we're working in Bitcoin. So we may hear from them as far as what kinds of things they'd like to see. It's a really good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess those kind of things are going to have to be figured out as you go along. But I have some experience pursuing nonprofit status with the organization that I work with, Free Aid, and that was something that we were really concerned about because obviously if you put a Bitcoin address out there, someone could send you Bitcoin and not own up to it, right? And in some cases, why would they want to? Especially if it's, for instance, they want their privacy, right? For political reasons, they don't want people to know that they support a certain cause or charity. How would we ever find their information, right, to be able to to disclose it publicly?
Right. I've talked a little bit about our attorneys with this in the sense that in the dollar world of charitable donations and also in-kind donations, they can be done anonymously. Maybe we just apply the existing rules and we look at that threshold of what the dollar amount is. And I think our plan, our mission is to be giving to environmental and public health causes. So I don't know, as long as we're giving to very stand-up, well-known organizations around the world who have their paperwork in order, that I'm not sure that it'll matter.
Right. Well, Planned Parenthood is still well known, but some people don't want their church, as you said, or whatever, to know that they donated to Planned Parenthood. So
right,
that issue's going to be there. One other thing about charities is that the blockchain is a public ledger of all the Bitcoin transactions, and that presents a tremendous opportunity for transparency and auditing of charities. Are you planning to leverage the blockchain in any way to let your donors and potential donors know, hey, look, this is where we stand in terms of our accounting and so forth?
I think we do plan on doing that. Right now, we are set up with BitPay, so everything is going through them because they process everything for free for charities.
Oh, so you're not actually holding Bitcoins? It's going to be converted to dollars?
Well, no, not necessarily. It depends. Like when we did our recent charity drive and we did convert to the currency of their choice to donate to them. But we do have holdings in Bitcoin as well. And they're actually with BitPay as well. They don't typically do that kind of service, but they are working on like a cold storage service that they will probably be rolling out, and they're holding ours in the meantime in high security for us. But as far as the transparency, don't have anything to hide. I'm not sure we don't have it all set up quite yet to do anything of that nature in the sense that it's all kind of going through BitPay. So we have one wallet address and everything's going into that one wallet address. I'm sure that can all be seen on the blockchain. Once we start having multiple projects and different campaigns and a variety of charities that we're working with and the Bitcoin donations are coming in, it'll probably be more complex. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't share that kind of information. I just don't know right now how we will be going about doing that.
There is the potential because you can attach text to Bitcoin transactions. So potentially, if there's one address that's serving as this main incoming address for donations, when coin goes out of that address, you could say attach a little note to it that says this is to fund Philippines relief efforts or whatever. This is going to the Red Cross or whatever. There is a potential for that, I suppose. Oh. But anyone could look at your Bitcoin address right now that you have, that you're taking donations to and see, okay, well, this address has had this many coins go into it, and this is when they came in. So really, that potential for auditing, I guess, is already there. At least people can have an idea of the sort of the balance that's in that address.
Absolutely. I'm still new to all those technical aspects of Bitcoin, so I have some things to learn, but, we certainly don't have anything to hide. Yeah, everything's up on the blockchain for the wallet we have, where you may see that we've pushed coins out into cash. Those have gone to either our bank account for bills or to the Save the Children group, which is our first campaign that we've done. I may be able to retroactively, go in and signal those things on the blockchain. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that. I think you have to do it at the time of the transaction, but it might be something for future reference to look into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Purse.io is a gift exchange that lets you get Bitcoins at only a 6% premium and with a credit card. How does it work? You purchase items for other Purse.io members from their Amazon wish lists. In return, you get Bitcoins in the amount of the Amazon purchase. The more people participate, the more Bitcoins will be available, so tell your friends. Get exclusive access today at Purse.io.